We have on our call. Wow, we got a good amount. We got 31 participants. Thank you, guys. I see. Oh, Yemi to be. Hello. Very good. We got a full house. So I'll do both. I'll go around and I'll also go into the list. Oh,
Hello.
you're here.
I'm here.
Yes.
That's the violinist. Okay.
So tell us about your piece here.
Okay. The piece here is titled "The Violinist." Is about a young lady in my church. She play violin, and she teach violin at a school. And when she first came to the church, I tried to help her to stay and to encourage her. So I tried to use what she used, her instrument, to make her painting. So that's why I fused her face with the violin. And then the background is full of musical notes in the sky. And the hair, I'm using it as a music notes. And then fuse her face with the violin.
Very good, very good. Tell us which country you're in now.
Oh, so my name is Yemi Tubi. I studied in America. When I was with you people, they cannot pronounce my full name. My full name is Olabamiji Yemi Tubi. And you America will say, oh, my name is too mouthful. So when I settled down in Great Britain, I tried to make it easy on the foreigners. So that's how I make it Yemi Tubi. I'm originally from Nigeria, and I was in America in 1982 to study, and I finished my art degree in 86. And I moved down here in UK since 1986. I've been living here.
Wow, wow, very good. All right, so let's see your other piece here. This is Lady Maret.
Yeah, Lady Maret is the Lady Maret of Norway. I was doing an exhibition in New York in 2018, and the girl came with one of the artists to the exhibition, and she came to my stand and we took pictures together. And then when I got back, we have been communicating. I would try to do the old masters style. So I saw the picture of Queen of France that was made by the one French artist. So I took the costume of that and I fused the picture of the girl to the painting, and I used the background of some landmark in Norway is the background, and so I just tried to use the style of the old master to do the portrait of the girl.
Wow.
That's why I call her the Lady Maret of Norway.
Very beautiful. Wow. And then this last one.
This one, I call it virtuous woman, my mother. Many in the Western world, they will tell us a lot of horrible news about Africa. All we hear about Africa is poverty, war, and everything. So I try to show the positive side of Africa in this painting. The background is the landmark of Nigeria. We call it a national theater. And then I try to show our culture, the modern and the old culture On the table is my picture of my mom. On the far right is the big hair tie red is the modern lady. During the time of my mothers, lady doesn't show their cleavage like the one on the right. This is the modern way African lady dress. But in the picture of my mom, lady wear blouse that cover their body, but with the modern trend, ladies show their cleavage. So that's what I'm trying to show here, and I try to show the affluency of African people. You can see the table and the chairs and all the showcase just to show the affluency of Africa, rather than to show starving people.
Very good. Wow. Awesome.
I have to tell you, I'm having difficulty deciding between whether I like the violin face or the rose face of your mother. They're beautiful.
Oh, thanks so much. Thank you. Yeah, this the fourth one. I mean, you Americans should know her. The reason why it captured my attention is that I try to showcase the African American from poverty to riches. So when I was doing this painting of the Simone, I studied as life history. She was brought up by her grandmom. Maybe her mom was druggy or something, but she went from foster home to foster home. She was poor, but through, I mean, and like this gymnast style, she is famous for.
Exactly.
Is known for to be a white sport, but for a black young girl to excel in a white people's sport is really commending. That's why I tried to do this painting, and she won about 5 gold medals for America, and now she's reigning. I mean, like when we are talking about football and athletics, the black people shine there. But to see a white and a black girl in a white people's sport excelling is great.
Yeah, very good. Excellent. She is a champion. She definitely is. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, so let's see. What I'm going to do is go through who I know is on the call so you can speak. Jonas is on the call. So Jonas, can you introduce yourself and tell us about your pieces here?
Yeah, I'm Jonas Ansari, and I'm from Iran, and I'm very happy I participated in this show.
Okay, I'm trying to find you so I can put your face up here. Okay, so tell us about Woman Portrait #1.
Yeah, it is done with palette knife, and only with palette knife.
No. Excuse me, Carolyn. We only see Yemi on the screen. We do not see Eunice, if that's how you pronounce his name.
Jonas. Yeah, I'm trying to find him. We have there you are. There you are. I found you. Okay, now you should see him, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Okay,
go ahead, Jonas.
Yeah, I said this one is done with palette knife, only with palette knife, and I didn't use a brush. The technique is palette knife, and I did the portrait of a woman and try to reflect the beauty of women with my palette knife strokes. And what else I can say?
Okay, we've got this one here, your Portuguese woman. Beautiful.
Yeah.
And this was also done in palette knife?
Yeah, this is palette knife too.
Oh,
Even
wow.
the details are done with palette knife, no brush.
Okay, got you. And
Yeah.
then this one, the Nomad.
Yeah, the bigger one.
Beautiful. And the last one, the last one, which I'd like you to tell us a little more about because she has your last name. Is this your relative?
No, it is not.
Okay.
Yeah. This piece was suggested with one of my friends. She's a space engineer herself. She studied space science, and I think this woman can be a symbol of women who study and work on the how to say the equality of women gender. Yeah, I think she's one of the symbols.
Thank you for sharing this because I had no idea about this at all. You know, when you think of Iran, you don't think of the women studying science so much because as Oyemi talked about Africa and the ideas we have of certain countries that the US brings to us, you know, it's not complete, right?
Sure.
So thank you for educating us about Anousheh.
Yeah.
Did I pronounce her name correctly?
Yeah, Anousheh.
Anousheh, very good.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you. I think we went through all four. Oh, can you talk a little bit about nomads? I mean,
nomad. Yeah, you see it behind me, the paintings. Well, I love nomads. They have very simple life, and women have the most important role in their life. I said the life is very simple. They are very noble people. They and how to say they have very hard life, you know. But it's not. They have dignity. They are rich. You think they live in tents or they have very hard life, but they are very rich. They have many cattle, and they have very wealth sometimes. And yeah, the nomads were my interest to paint because they use many colors in their life, and I could use them in my paintings.
Very good. It's just beautiful. Yeah, you have really nice, very beautiful.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Yeah, that was the largest one of the 3 or 4 of your paintings. This is 58 by 54 inches. Yeah. All right. Okay, thank you, Yones.
Thank you too.
All right, and we're going to go back to our full and see who else we have. Wendy.
Carolyn, did you see someone's suggestion that we do 1 work per person? Otherwise, we're not going to hear from everyone.
Right. Well, we actually don't have everyone on the call right now, so I'm just trying to go through, and that's a good suggestion.
Carolyn?
Yes.
How is this different than the 3 days when we're going to have interviews and showings? Is this like a dress rehearsal for those 3 days?
Yes.
When we're going to invite people?
Yes, this is a dress rehearsal. So I just don't want to truncate the artists who are here. Again, if you can speak, you know, about your pieces and introduce yourself. So thank you. I'm just so used to going in depth. So thank you guys. Does anybody see their name coming up as I'm scrolling down here?
Mine is near the top, Carolyn, Pat Smith. One more. There.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Okay, so being that we have all three here, let's look at the three as one, and we can highlight the first one, which is this one. So let me, Pat, so everybody else should be muted except Pat, right? I've got to find Pat. Pat, can you say something so I can find you?
I'm here. I'm right above you on my screen. So.
Oh, I see you. I see you. Great.
So
Okay.
Carolyn taught a couple of encaustic workshops that I took. And I didn't want to work with wax, so I work with acrylic. And this was not...
Pat, can you move your computer so we can see your mouth, please? Hi.
There we go.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Pat.
It's a very awkward angle for me to see. Anyway, this was actually carved into plaster. It's not the encaustic. The other three are encaustic, or faux encaustic, using acrylic gels. This one was actually carved, and it has a lot of strange things in it because I was dealing with environmental degradation. And,
okay. Great.
My personal heroine of the environment was Rachel Carson when I was growing up as a teenager. And so her life is heroic to me. So this is just sort of an example of somebody fighting the odds of environmental degradation.
Wow. Wow. Thank you. Very educational, Rachel. Very educational. Rachel Carson. Cool. All right. Okay. So as suggested, this is dress rehearsal, and we're going to, we see your other works here. Let me at least click on them so people can see. Dawn Wooten, Whistleblower. I like that you put the bird there. Very good. And
Hazel Bird,
yeah.
representing South American.
Ah, okay. And Joyce Scott. Very beautiful. All right. All right. And this is 24 by 18. And this is a acrylic painting with embellishments, you say? Okay.
That was done for COVID. And so it's interactive, and it's much fuller now than it was because different people have been putting their missives on ribbons about their experience with COVID. And last Saturday, I went to an Hispanic Heritage Festival, and one woman had lost 5 loved ones to COVID. And she did 5 ribbons that she added.
Good Lord.
So it's a very emotional piece.
Wow. Thank you, Pat. Thank you. Wow. That's so heartbreaking. Okay. So we've got, again, if you see yourself here, please say hello and unmute yourself. Patricia. Lois, you're here, right? Did Lois leave? Yeah, I think she, or maybe unmute yourself, Lois. Maybe she had to leave. Okay.
Hello. Hi.
Oh, there. Okay, there you are.
Yeah, wow.
Okay, there you are.
Yeah. Hello,
So,
everybody.
all right. Everybody's on mute except you.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we're just going quickly. I just
Okay.
want everybody to see your face and tilt your screen up a little bit. Okay, good. Now we can see your whole face. Thank you. So you have 3 pieces, and these are the 3. Tell us where you are, Lois, where you're from. And
I live in Columbia, Maryland, which is located between Baltimore and Washington, D.C., USA.
Mhm.
And I'm more of an abstract painter. And
This one that you had here is Tina Turner.
yes, the name of that painting is Femme So Fine, Tina Turner. And I chose a performing artist because that's exactly what she is. She's American-born Swiss singer, songwriter, actress, dancer. She's queen of rock and roll. She's regarded as one of the greatest music artists of the 20th century. She was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1991 and also this year, 2021.
Wow.
Yeah, oh, you want me to keep on? Oh.
Yeah. Well, again, we just wanted you to say hi, right? And so we can put a face with who's done the works, right?
Yeah, I am.
So, thank you. All right.
You're
And you've done these.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna just show them quickly. This one is, as you said, you're more of an abstract painter.
Yes.
Right? And
yes.
And this one here is quite abstract.
Yeah, that's called
The Past Performance.
Yeah.
And then the last one, I think we showed this one already.
No, not that one.
Not this one. Okay, great.
No.
And it's envisioning song and dance. Very vibrant. Very vibrant.
That's the one I was thinking when she's thinking about choreographer, you know, dancing, singing the lyrics to the songs, and her dancers on the stage with her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I had to liven it up. that red is quite dominant because she's very exciting.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lois.
Sure.
Very good. Okay, so we're going to. That's Lois Moore Blackwell. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, and let's see who else we may have on the call that hasn't said anything yet from this list up. Is Tarver here? Or Tenzin? I think Tenzin might be here. Okay. All right, and Jibin. Is Tenzin here? No? Okay. All right, so we're going to move on to this one, which is the biggest. So again, I think Ilaria, James, Prince Maduekwe, Gerald Fontroy, Jamie. Who? Oh, Prince. Okay, great. All right, Prince. Okay, so let me see if I can locate you. Say something so I see you. I see you. Okay, great. So tell us where you are. What a name, Prince Maduekwe.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Carolyn, for making this happen.
Good.
My name is Prince Maduekwe. I read for applied arts, majored in painting, graduated 1993. Practiced as a full-time studio artist. Then at 2006, left and joined the US Army. And then, after staying in the Army and having my own business, like they said, art is a jealous mistress. I still have to come back to art. So come back full-time studio artist, and I live and work both in Nigeria and in America, Houston, Richmond, Texas, a suburb of Houston. And for some time now, I've been stuck in US since the pandemic. I just find it easy stay in one place instead of having to move around like I used to, because it's kind of difficult now.
Yeah.
This work, Orange Ribbon, color pencil and paper. Of recent, I've been working mostly color pencil and then oil pastel, charcoal, mixing them with a lot of other stuff, just ordinary sand, dates. And this work is about my daughter. The one on yellow, orange ribbon is my daughter. I want to do this work. She's always feeling like, she's always telling us, telling me she doesn't look African enough. That she's fair, her features, and I said, well, what made you think so? So I did this work. After doing this work, I showed it to her. She was like, wow, this is beautiful. So I said, okay, did you notice something else about this work? She said, yes. Who is that person? I said, well, that's my cousin. I said, now you said this work is beautiful. Now that cousin looks so different from you. So I used this particular artwork to highlight not only gender, the disparity between the genders, but also the disparity between the female gender. Like we have some people, like some of them think they have to be this way, that Madison Avenue and the advertising world have put down on them that you have to look this way to be beautiful, or you have to look this way, be fair or dark to identify with this particular, group. So I'm like, what matters is, my daughter, you are beautiful, and all of you female are beautiful. It doesn't matter if you are fair, it doesn't matter if you're white, it doesn't matter if your bone structure is this way. You are just a human being. Just be yourself and express yourself within your spirituality. Just be yourself. So that's the message I was trying to put across with this work.
Wow. Well said. Well said. Beautiful. Beautiful. And this one with the buttocks here.
Okay.
This one here is very, very interesting. What?
This one, like I said, most of I have a car, I have a bike. I enjoy my bike a lot, but I don't so much. I hate driving, especially in the US. Those of you in London, I know, like Tubi, you take the tube, you move around, you don't have problem. But here, you have to have a car or you are gone. Especially in the southern US, the public transit is not efficient. So I use my car for my artwork. I use the car to drive through this, to kind of, project modernity, to say that most times what we think we need an object for is not always what it is. We can use them for. Like this is social media. That's the title. I have a series of this Swag Unraveling. And I want to let people know that social media, especially for our female folks, it has been a wonderful tool. Because of that, you can see people swagging. They always take their selfie. Even the people that you think that are by Vogue standard, by Elle standard, all these magazines, they shouldn't be there. They shouldn't be part of themselves, because they're gonna be, oh, I'm too fat, oh, I don't have this, oh, I'm too short. But because of social media, they can now showcase themselves. They can be proud of themselves. So social media have helped a lot in, bringing about breaking down gender equality. With social media, we can bypass all those restraints that tells you you must be this way for us to accept you.
Mhm.
So this work is done with color pencil, and the hairs, you can see like those long hairs are actually done with, I started it with a bike. I have to ride my bike on top of this paper.
Oh,
So I use those bike track, bike, marks to make the hair. And then I use charcoal, and then I use the edges from those bike marks.
wow.
And that's one thing with social media. It allows you to express yourself, use
Wow.
unusual media, and use unusual tools to arrive at your statements.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you for that. My goodness. It's interesting that you used your bike tracks. That's an innovative way to put marks on your piece. Very nice. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
All right. For sake of time, we've got about a half hour more. And I'll go down the list again. So if you see your work, please say I'm here. I think Anand is here. Anand, are you here still? Let's see. Yes, he is. You have to unmute yourself.
Now?
Yes, very good. All right. So Anand, tell us where you're from and what these pieces are about briefly, because
Yeah.
we've got a half hour to go. Mhm.
I am Anand Manchi Raju from India. I live near Himalayas. I am totally very much impressed by this theme, woman. Woman is a vital energy, I feel. Vital energy and a big force. The title of this painting is Primary. Shall I explain about this?
Yes.
The title of this painting is Primary. This is done with oil on canvas. I used rollers, sponge, and squeezers to get these textures. Be it in STEAM, actually what it means, be it in STEAM, science, technology, engineering, art, maths, music, or nothing. Women primarily drive this world, I believe. To me, they are like primary colors in different hues and different shades. They add beauty to life and they add beauty to humans.
Yeah.
That's what I want to convey in this painting.
Very, very well said. Very, very nice to connect those primary colors with women being primary in life. Thank you, Anand. Thank you. And here are his other works. We'll look at them real briefly. And we'll talk about these on the next.
Yeah. This
yeah.
is Grace.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, we
The harmony, third one.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Very nice. Again, we'll get more in detail with these on the next talk. This one is just to introduce yourself and to put a face with the artwork. Very good. Thank you, Anand. What time is it there in by the Himalayas?
Rishikesh.
What time is it there?
It is 1 o'clock in the night.
Wow. So thank you for hanging with us. Thank you.
Yeah, I like it.
Very good.
I appreciate this.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing your work with us. Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Is Frank here? If you are, you can unmute yourself. Oh, Gabriela, she's from Argentina. She may not be with us. Tony. Hubert. I hear somebody.
That's me, Hubert.
Hubert, good to see you. Good to hear you. Let me see if I can spotlight you. Okay.
I'm unseen today. I don't have the right dress.
Okay, all right. So what I'll do is, okay, how about if I can, I'll just put myself as a spotlight while you speak so that people can at least see someone. Okay, so can you tell us where you're from and a little bit about this one piece, UCT couple number 2?
I'm from Virginia, about an hour and a half away from Washington, D.C. I did a whole series of paintings regarding the American Civil War. President Abraham Lincoln at one point decided to include African Americans, either from the slave states and the free states, and let them fight in the Civil War, which they had been trying to do for some time. And by the end of the Civil War, 20% of the Union Army was made up of African Americans. And they came from the South, from southern states, and they left their women behind and the families behind, but they stayed in touch with them, and after the war, they rejoined them. But the women who stayed behind had to take care of the families through a lot of hardships. So this piece is called USCT Couple, and I saw photographs of the colored troops when they rejoined their families, and they took family portraits. And I looked at some of those portraits, and this sort of got me to do this series. USCT Couple.
Wow, very beautiful. And these are the other, this was the number 1, the first one, just so people can see. You have a horse in the background too. And then this one here is beside the still waters.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing your gorgeous artwork with us and for honoring the women who stayed behind to take care of stuff while the husbands were away at war. Thank you. Okay, so let us keep going.
This needs to be plugged in.
Can you mute yourselves unless you're going to be speaking? Okay. Is Maricha here? Okay, somebody, I can hear your background sound, so okay. Gabriela? No. Ilaria? Lauren? Jean Catherine? Adrian? Is Adrian here? I heard somebody. Okay. Anyan, Clement? Donette, I think I saw Donette.
Yes, I'm here.
Yes. Okay. All right. So see if I can find you so I can, there we are. Okay. Thank you, Donette, for being with us here today. Please tell us where you're from and what is this piece about?
Okay,
I
live in Hyattsville, Maryland, and I'm from Jamaica, Kingston, Jamaica. And it's Nana of the Maroons. Nana is our heroine, national heroine in Jamaica. We have several national people. She's our only female honored in that way. Nana was from Ghana, and she came to Jamaica in the 18th century and fought against the British for liberation. The Maroons lived in the mountainous regions. They created settlements that encouraged enslaved persons to escape and join them. They fought against the British. They used camouflage and using trees and other devices, leaves, to camouflage themselves as they fought against the British.
Wow.
And this piece kind of echoes in a way a poem by our poet laureate, Lorna Goodison, who said in her poem about Nanny, sometimes referred to in Jamaica as Nanny or Nana, that she was trained, she was sold to the traders, but she was trained and came with all her powers within her. She was not taken, she was sent. So she was sent as an instrument of liberation for those of us who ended up in the Caribbean and the Americas.
Wow. Wow.
And this is a quilted piece using the camouflage fabric, silk, Cuba cloth, and other elements. And at the bottom right is the Akobem symbol from Ghana that was like a horn of war.
Okay, wow. So there's a lot of information in this piece. Wow. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Wow. And you did this one this year? Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. Thank you. It's
specifically for this exhibition.
Yeah. I didn't want to assume, but I said, did she do it just for the show? So thank you for doing it. Very good. I'm very honored that you took the time to create this piece to help us really make an impact with what we're trying to say about female champions. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. We will move along. We've got Jerome Smith.
I am here, Elena.
Ah, Elena, I thought I might have heard you. Okay, let's see if I can find you, Elena. Can you say hello so I can find you quickly?
Hello, I am Elena.
Ah, okay.
I want to thank everyone to participating in Carolyn's adventure. It's very amazing artists. I have posted, I think 3 or 4 images.
Yeah.
Different states of woman. This is a goddess. Well, no, it's a spiritual one. I have a priest and a woman, a physical woman. So 3 states. This is a yogi. It's easy to different aspects of our femininity.
And where are you originally from, Elena? Where are you originally from?
I am Spanish. I am Spanish. I work as an art teacher here.
Okay.
And
Cool.
it's my 4th year. Well, I am starting my 4th year in America. But
Wow.
I work at
All
Spain.
right. So you have 3 pieces in this gallery, and you also have another one in another gallery. So we're just putting a face with who created these works. So these.
Because them said I'm going to finish in a few.
Pardon?
Excuse. Bueno, this is the one. One is a woman of the loom, a weaver. And she's my best friend, and this one it's called Voyage to the Higher Self.
All right.
No, this comes from a
and like again.
Somebody needs to mute themselves, please. Yeah. Okay, sorry, Elena, go ahead.
So I posted, this is the 4th one, but it's a mix of all of them.
Yes. Yeah.
The jar represents the higher self, that it's of our head, and the water that it's, an aspect of a woman. It's because woman, we sometimes, I don't believe in, I like the equality, but being ourselves, being also number two, to enjoy our femininity as it is. Eso es. Because we have an aspect of service, of we're around, and men, they are lying. So it's to join both aspects. And this one is from a book called Mother Earth and Father Sky, the Curtis. I was called to represent the Native Americans in a fair, and a book full of 4-leaf clovers. It comes from the shelf, and they were there, so I asked permission, and I made a series.
Wow.
Golden buttons.
Wow. Thank you, Elena. Thank you. Wow.
And the last one, this one, the big one is my best friend. She's a weaver, and the dress she is dressing, it's a typical dress. It's a typical tejido, ¿cómo se dice? When you sew. The oldest ancient job of woman.
Oh, okay. Okay. Weaving. Loom. Okay. Nice.
So
thank you.
I was talking about mathematical threads because that one is atypical from the Pyrenees I live.
Oh, okay.
It was a weaver.
Thank you. All right. Beautiful. Very beautiful. Okay, we have about 10 minutes, which we have.
And then I'm trying to figure out why the daggone sound isn't working.
Someone who said the sound isn't working, we can hear you. All right. So we're almost.
Okay, I'm here.
Who's here?
Dorothy.
Dorothy, where are you?
Dorothy Knapp-Schindel.
Ah, I see you. Wait.
There are 3 of my 4 here.
Ah, okay.
And the other one is somewhere else. Here I am.
Right.
Okay.
So let me click on one of these. Which one would you like to talk about?
Well, I guess I'm the woman who has awoken is the most,
okay.
Well, they all have a lot of meaning today, but that one is about Afghan women, so Afghanistan.
Wow. So tell us where you're from, Dorothy.
Well, I'm living in Florida right now, Vero Beach, Florida, but I'm born and bred in New York City.
Okay.
I'm from Lower Manhattan and Brooklyn. And I do mixed media collage, usually from my own photographs, but this one is not. This is from found images and cut paper, you know, different types of papers. I actually did this in 2002.
Wow.
But it was so, and I keep it at home. I actually own a gallery here, so, but this is never in the gallery.
Okay.
It's a piece that I keep.
Okay.
It was done in 2002 because this was right after the first Taliban rule in Afghanistan, which was 1996 to 2001. And at the time I was doing some artwork for UNIFEM, the United Nations Development Fund for Women. So this was one of the pieces. And it's a tribute to Mina, who was the founder of the Revolutionary Association of the Women of Afghanistan at the time. And she was actually killed and martyred.
Wow.
She did an extraordinary amount of work. And she wrote a poem called I'll Never Return. I don't think we have time for me to read the poem here. It's not that long, but I'm the woman who has awoken is a line from the poem.
Got you. Got you.
So this piece really celebrates Mina as a hero and a women's rights advocate and a poet, and she was assassinated and martyred at the time. So you see the hills and mountains and images of women in burqas, which at the time we were, it was very much on the minds of everyone. We were seeing a lot of these images at the time. And then to the left, we see women in protest. And then we see young children, looking sprightly and happy. They are the future. And so that's essentially what this piece is about.
Wow.
Dorothy, can I just say I'm sitting here with tears rolling down my face. I am so moved.
Oh, thank you so much. I do a lot of social issue collages, and I was so glad because now of what's happening in Afghanistan that I was able to share this piece.
Yeah.
Because it is so timely now.
Yeah.
It certainly is.
Yeah. Wow.
The other pieces, why don't I just talk about the one in the middle very quickly, which is a breast cancer piece. This is from my photographs of Lower Manhattan. I'm from Soho originally, and the East Village. And these pieces, these were photographs taken in the East Village, actually. I'm obsessed with graffiti, so I take pictures of graffiti all the time. So you'll see pieces that I pieced together of different photographs of the Lower East Side and the bridge. And this was actual pink laundry that was hanging in somebody's window. It looks like, I guess, bedspreads. I do a lot of laundry pieces. I'm kind of known for my laundry.
Wow.
This is an example of a laundry piece that was actually a social issue piece done on the subject of breast cancer for a fundraiser that we had for a breast cancer organization a few years ago at my gallery. And it's called City of Hope. And that is why I have the images of the two, women and hope, written here on the pink.
Nice.
Is for, and the piece on the right is a cigar box, actually. Oh, there we are. This is Bravo to the Women. I worked in the theater for 45 years as a director. I taught acting at NYU, and I was a scenic designer. So this is very dear to my heart. All the women who have toiled over the years to make a name for themselves in the theater and really in all different areas. This is actually Jesse Mueller here from Carousel, the most recent Broadway production of Carousel. And it's a little 3D piece in a cigar box with a type of stage. And you see a lot of women who some of you may recognize. And it's just a tribute to women in theater called Bravo to the Women. Because it hasn't always been easy for women, just like in other fields, to make a name for themselves and in the various aspects of theater employment. And the other one is the Ode to the Everyday Housewife. There's some laundry, a laundry basket. It's called Clouds. And there is a poem that was written by a friend of mine when he was in his 90s, a poet and drama critic, actually, called Clouds. And I won't read the poem here, but the words are in there, and it elevates doing laundry. It elevates the whole aspect of what I was trying to say here is this kind of an image of a woman from the 50s, and she is glorified by the glow behind her in the everyday job that she's doing as the everyday housewife. And everything in here was taken from my own photographs, all the clouds, etc., except for the historical figure of the woman. Okay. It's 4:30.
Yeah. So what we're going to have to do, guys, like I said before everybody started, before we actually started recording, we're going to have 3 separate gallery talks in November for each of the pieces. So you can, for those who haven't talked extensively about your piece, you'll get an opportunity. But in the meantime, I'm going to quickly, if there's somebody here who hasn't spoken yet, and if you don't mind, we can continue this. But again, we'll please try to keep it to just talking about one piece and talking about where you're from and how you did your work, like the medium. Okay, so I'm going to go down the line here.
I'm here, Maurice.
Marie?
Maurice.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me find you. Ah, there you are.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you for having me. I feel so privileged to be part of such a talented group of people. This is amazing. It's really great.
Wow.
I live in upstate New York, and basically I do these kinds of works as a hobby. I'm a visual artist, and I pretty much selected 3 images: the tiger, a cyclist, and a runner. These images, I think they are symbolic with tenacity, endurance, empowerment of women. And I basically wanted to capture these virtues in each one of these images. Okay, and as a cyclist, I mean, I'm not a cyclist, but I wanted to capture the way that they are, their drive to succeed. If in this particular image, you can see that there's a competitive spirit, and the way that they are, their maneuverings and everything. But also, I wanted to say that it's really amazing to me that only 25% of the population of cyclists is women. And
Wow.
hopefully that percentage will increase to a higher percentage, because, times are changing, and women empowerment, it's there. So I just wanted to capture these things, these images.
All right. And the runner as well. Wow.
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, there's
Maurice,
a competitive spirit there.
Where are you originally from?
Originally, I was born in Port-au-Prince, Haiti.
Ah, okay.
Port-au-Prince, Haiti, but I came here since 71.
Wow.
My accent is still there. I can't get rid of it. It's still there.
Don't mind. It's a part of you. You don't have to get rid of it. Well, thank you for sharing your sentiments with us about how you want to honor the women and encourage a higher amount of women
cycling,
experience cycling
just
and
that's
running.
only 25%. Exactly. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you. And
Okay.
I'm going to ask again, guys. I'm going to go down the line. Tell me who's here so you can say hello. Is Les here? Les Jusino?
I'm here, Anna Gadish.
Anna, yes, I remember you here. So let's see if I can find you so I can highlight you. Anna, say hi again.
Hello.
There we go. Thank you.
Great.
Okay. So tell us where you're from originally and a little bit about your piece.
Absolutely. So I'm originally, I was born in Miami, Florida, but my family is Cuban on both sides. So both of my parents left as children in the 60s from Cuba. So I'm a first generation Cuban American. And right now I'm living in the East Bay of California. So about 30 minutes north of Oakland, not even like 20 minutes north of Oakland.
Okay, wow, okay. So this piece is about outlaw, Victorian outlaw. Okay.
This piece was actually inspired by the artwork of Kehinde Wiley, who was one of the earliest influences for me, I think, in terms of subject matter and style. If you have ever seen the presidential portrait of former President Obama, that's the artist, Kehinde Wiley.
We know him.
Huh?
Definitely we know him. I've been to a gallery that has his work in Manhattan. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, when I was in school at the University of Florida at the Harn Gallery, as soon as you walk in, there's like this larger than life kind of Victorian style, like royal portrait of like a young Black man wearing like outerwear with like a down jacket and stuff. And I was like, I've never seen anything like this before. So I just love the idea of elevating all kinds of, you know, people of color, people who perhaps would not have been, you know, styled into a European oil painting back in the, you know, 1700s. So it's that style that I really love to hold on to and harness. So this piece, the main figure was sourced from a family photo of mine. So I'm not actually sure who she is or what her story is, because so much gets lost from the few photos that, you know, we even managed to get out of Cuba in the first place. You know, even my dad is like, how do we even save all these? So this woman, you know, presumably existed around the time of women's suffrage in 1920, which at the time that this piece was made in 2020, it was only 100 years after women got the vote. So, and that really surprised me. Like, my great grandmother would have been 100. Like, this woman has a photograph of her. So like, I can't believe it was that recent. But she sort of represents all of us right now because, you know, she's wearing a mask. She's got her roll of voting stickers, and, you know, she's pretty much calm, but prepared, as perhaps many of us can relate during the 2020 age. Which now sort of feels like, and this has always been such a contemporary piece, but now it feels like it's topical still, but one day it won't be. It's
right.
Imagine looking at this 50 years from now, be like, wow, I guess everybody was wearing face masks at the time.
Wow, that's really interesting. Very gorgeous. And he's called this a digital painting.
Yes, this painting actually only exists on the computer. Like, I did everything digitally, including the pencil, everything is done digitally, all the flowers, digital paint. So like, it exists in digital realm, and I print it onto a canvas or a print or whatever. So it kind of raises that philosophical question of what is an original if something is digital. But yeah, every single bit of this, there was not any pencil or paint at all.
Wow. But if you originally did it on the computer, then it's original. But it's just, you know, you just have only one of it, like the NFTs are trying to do. right?
That is a good point. Yeah, like nobody has a high res version but me.
Right.
No one has a
exactly.
digital high res version, but you can get prints of it. And I guess it's up to the artist, right, to kind of like, you know, decide that. But the fact that it's all digital sort of also opens a new conversation about digital art tools and technology and art. Is the same kind of conversations that were had when the camera was first invented and people were saying this isn't art, it's not a painting. So having these kinds of conversations, I think, is valuable.
Yeah, very, very much so. Thank you very much, Anna.
Thank you, Carolyn.
I laid your clothes out for you.
Somebody is, I can hear your background again. Okay, so let's keep going. Let's see if we can get through this. After this one, we have only a small amount to do. Is Julia May here? Or Jerome? I think I saw Jerome. No, okay. Elena, we went through. Carol Hines. Jayashri, I think I saw her, but is Jayashri here? No, okay, great. So the last one, which is the smallest, is number 3. Jamile, is Kathleen still here? I think Judith definitely is here. Judith, are you here?
Sure am.
You are. All right. Hi, let me find you here. Say something so I can find you quicker.
Let me pat my cheeks so they look
great, great. Now I got you. All right. Judith, yay. All right. These sculptures that you've created are just gorgeous. Tell us where you're from, Judith.
Excuse me. I am from Portsmouth, Rhode Island, which is on the same island called Aquidneck Island that Newport, Rhode Island is in. Most people know what Newport, Rhode Island is.
Right,
and we're 6 miles from there.
Okay, okay. So tell us about this Ode to the Middle East.
Okay, can I see my other things that are on there so I can decide which one I want to talk about, please?
Sure, go ahead. This one's just so colorful, and that one always makes me smile. So, okay.
Okay, yeah, we'll go with Ode to the Middle East.
Okay.
So what's interesting about this is that it seems to take on new life, just like, I wish I could remember her name, but the work that made me cry, you know, how it just keeps acquiring new meaning. This is called Ode to the Middle East, and it is a sculpture that can sit on a table, as you can see. And I am an eco artist in that I use all found metal and I use repurposed wood for the base, as you can see. And originally when I did this piece, I was so beside myself and so upset with the terrorists destroying mosques, cathedrals, and minarets, and churches all over the Middle East. The terrorists doing that, but then and by the way, I don't know how many of you might know the details of it, but as an example, Jonah's tomb was destroyed by ISIS. And what I find interesting about that is that Jonah's tomb was visited by Christians, Muslims, and Jews. So, it wasn't just a Christian, monument or remembrance. It was something that every religion visited, which I thought was interesting. But as time has gone on, I guess I would have to say I spend so much time thinking about women in these countries who are being, you know, either raped and murdered or, you know, forced to just be so subservient to men, or, you know, find it excruciatingly difficult to be educated. And if they do, you know, I never forget the book I read, reading Lolita, you know, in, I think it was reading Lolita in Tehran. I may have the last word, but you know that these women got together, hiding in their, you know, in the home of one woman, reading literature and works and studying together because they couldn't do it anyplace else. And I don't know, I just spend an awful lot of time praying and thinking about these women who are being abused, or even if they're not being abused, they can't live the way men can in these environments. And it just makes me so incredibly sad. I also want you all to know that as of this particular exhibition, I am out about the fact that I was diagnosed with Alzheimer's 2 years ago. And I am now a self-declared Alzheimer's advocate. And the woman who did that wonderful Hope cancer, I need her to turn around and make the same one for Alzheimer's research. Most of you probably have no idea that 25 years ago, cancer was where Alzheimer's is today, where people were still going, shh, don't tell anybody, she's got the big C, right? Some of you will remember that. Well, guess what, folks? It's like that with Alzheimer's today. And I have started my own campaign. I started it the second I got diagnosed, where when I meet people, I chat with them. I just did this at the beach yesterday. I chat with them, we get to know each other. You know, we live on the island, and this woman's kids are even gonna come and take a sculpture class from me. And then I look at them and I say, look at me. Look at me. I have Alzheimer's. And of course, some of them say, oh, you poor thing. Most of them just sit there, mouths agape. My point is, do I seem like somebody you should be afraid of? Do I seem like somebody you should shun? No. And by the way, folks, the percentage of women getting Alzheimer's, and they don't necessarily know why, is far greater than men. Now, why do I bring this up here? Because I donate 50% of my earnings from my art to Alzheimer's research. I also will tell you that I'm on a mission to find galleries who want to put together benefits. And I will tell you, and you'll all get an email about it, in December, instead of having his usual annual Christmas show, he's going, one of my agents in Tiverton, Rhode Island, is going to dedicate his entire holiday show to raising money for Alzheimer's research support and care. And I will be featured there in some of my works, but also speak. Back to the works. I look at these works and I think, how can we in this country support the women in the Middle East? And you'll see this one here is called Requiem for Odette, and it's a celebration of women in dance. My husband and I absolutely love anything that has to do with dance. And Odette, in case you don't know, it is the swan who dies for love in Swan Lake. Pemberley celebrates all things that have to do with Jane Austen and her works. Pemberley is the estate that Darcy, the main male character in Pride and Prejudice, lives in. By the way, this piece can, and I'll turn the computer so you can see, because it's over in the corner. You can see it. It also has its own stand. And so it can be like that, or it can be on a stand, as you can see, lifting up. And it's one of the reasons Jane Austen is a heroine to me, because it's amazing that she was able to publish under her own name as a woman. When you think of all the women in that era who wrote beautiful works, and yet they had to pretend they were a man.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah. And the final one here is called convivencia. And convivencia is a term that harkens back to the 14th century, as you can see by what I wrote. It's a time, it refers to a time when, imagine this, folks, Christians, Jews, and Muslims lived in relative harmony. And I guess to me, what it means is that women and men, no matter what their ethnic origins, can love one another because we are all one, or Ubuntu, as Africans might declare.
Yeah. Wonderful, 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 Judith. Thank you so very much for your artwork and your focus.
Thank you.
Also your sharing, and your sharing. So again, thank you so very much.
By the way, all these pieces have repurposed wood and found metal. And the wall sculptures, every one of my wall sculptures involves shadows.
Right.
And that has to do with the fact that I'm a Jungian at heart and love all of his shadow works, Carl Jung.
Wow. Wow. Beautiful. Beautiful.
By the way, my husband is my artisan, and he's the one who, once I design my sculptures, he has to do what's called tapping and make little screw holes in all of these works, so that.
Oh, I wondered about that. I said, yeah, especially over to the Middle East. Yeah.
Yeah. So all of the bottom of Pemberley is an example. They've been the bottom that sits on the base. Every single solitary one of those pieces is tapped with a screw. So that he can put threaded rod in it. But then, as you can see, the found metal that goes in between up above, they all have to attach as well.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Very, very, very well constructed. So a team, your teamwork is definitely shining through here. Very much. Okay, we're on the home stretch here, guys. Is Robert here or Lisa?
Lisa's here.
Lisa. Which one of these would you like to start with?
I was just gonna do a general talk about the four of them.
Okay, so let's click on the first one and then focus on
her name is Meadow.
Like yeah.
Yeah, her name is Meadow. There's an explanation about her. Anyway, I'm from Damascus, Oregon. I've lived in Oregon all my life, and I'm very honored to be chosen in this show. A few years ago, I did a series called Reflections of a Woman, which has 34 paintings in it. And so these are the four that you accepted, or the four that I chose to represent what I was trying to accomplish in painting. And anyway, So I tried to depict the journey I took to realize how what I was taught to believe by society and media, that women are not equal. We are less than, and how damaging this has been to me, causing depression. So I started the series of paintings when I saw Henry Matisse's painting, Blue Woman. My daughter did a drawing of it in high school, and I was really touched by it. And then that was how I started my 34 paintings that I did. And I started with a drawing just, you know, of how I felt being oppressed as a woman, not being listened to, or having my opinions be important, or I didn't feel very valid. And so as I did these paintings, I progressed and with my paintings on how I felt. And as I broke out of depression, and as I realized that I am equal, that I am just as good as everybody else, and just as good as men, and that it's fine. But I was so conditioned that I didn't realize that. So my paintings all started out with Bridget. She's the purple one on the bottom. All of my paintings started out like that, where she's in sections. You can see that she's not whole because she's trying to figure out how to be whole. And so all of them started out like that, and they all started out with no faces, because they're not just about me, they're about all women. And and so then I started putting faces to them, which just was about my journey becoming closer to being okay with myself and being who I am, and that women should just get to be free to love and to sing and to play and to laugh and to just to be who they are. And and then I just want to say it really means a lot to me to be in the show, to be able to share my paintings and the meaning that I was trying to convey when I painted them. And I believe it's really important. I believe that it's a journey that all of us are on, and we're all still on it, and we're on this journey together, especially with shows like this that we can bring to the forefront and be aware of what we're all going for and moving towards the movement for gender equality.
Thank you for saying that, Lisa. Well said. And really, really, I personally appreciate your sharing your journey, how you started the works and how you've done so many. 30, how many? 30, how many?
34 in this series. I have a lot of other paintings. The one that you can see behind me is a painting that I did as well. But is in my woman series, I have 34 paintings. And I do want to say that my daughter, I have a daughter and a son. And my daughter she's going to have her first, I'm going to have my first grandbaby pretty soon. Anyway, but she is my biggest fan. She has, I think, 13 of my paintings in her home. And she loves my Reflections of a Woman series. It's one of her favorite of all the series that I've done of different, you know, landscapes and people. Anyway, so she's always been my biggest fan. So she's very excited about this show. As am I.
And is this a painting of your daughter or no?
No, actually, that is a painting of one of my daughter's friends.
Okay.
A friend of hers took a picture, and it was similar to this. I changed it, but I asked before I painted it if I could use her photo to make the image. And so this actually this painting has been in the newspaper before. I've had it in a couple of shows before. It's been highlighted as the poster in a couple of shows, and it's been one of my favorite pieces. And the young woman that it represents, her name is Jess, and she lives in Gresham, Oregon, and she's very, very wonderful young woman.
Wow. I'm sure she is just tickled.
Yes, she was very excited.
Wow. Well, thank you so very much, Lisa, for sharing these pieces with us. They're beautiful, and you know, well done.
Thank you for allowing me to be in the show. I'm honored.
Lisa, where are you from, or did I forget it because I have Alzheimer's?
Yeah, Damascus, Oregon. It's just outside of Portland.
Portland,
Oregon,
or Portland, Maine, or what?
Portland, Oregon. I live in Oregon.
Oregon. Yeah. Great. All right. So let's.
Thank you, Carolyn.
Oh, you're welcome, Lisa. Thank you. So let's see. Which gallery are we in? Oh, we're in number 3. So this is actually the last gallery. And let's see. Louise Chirac. Are you here? I think I saw her name. No? Or Carol Dubois? So it looks like, guys, we've gone through all 3 galleries. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen and
can I
sure. Go ahead.
Okay. I didn't see my work on
Me
TV.
neither.
Okay, let's
in
see.
the link.
Who's saying this? I can't see.
Ottilia.
And
Oh,
Nikki.
Ophelia. Okay.
And Nikki. Yeah, I didn't see mine either.
Okay, let me put your names down. Ottilia and Nikki. Please talk about your piece here. Nina Simone.
Yes, I choose Nina Simone, the jazz singer, because I'm a big fan. And
we can't see her or hear her.
Okay, so let me
okay. I don't know if
I think she muted herself. There you are.
There you are.
You can hear me?
Yeah. Now it's
Hello. Okay, so I choose the singer Nina Simone. For me, is a champion. Not only for what she did in music, but she was a female which start to bring in history, like with politicals, genders, racism too. And she was amazing. She says she didn't sing jazz music. She sang African classic music. And I write the title like the Queen of the Jazz, because now she's the Queen of the Jazz.
Yeah.
in our times. And it's a painting in acrylic on canvas. The golden circle, I try to stimulate like 2 areas of symbolistic, like vinyl and like a vinyl cover. And you know, the golden circle for the angels. I think she's an angel upstairs and maybe in heaven. And yeah, she was beautiful, and for me it's inspiring me not only in my paintings but in my music too. So
wow.
she's
So
amazing.
tell us a little bit about your background, Ottilia. Where are you initially from and where have you traveled to now?
Yes, I'm originally from Romania, and now I'm living in Netherlands for 1 year and a few months. And I started to paint on when I was 5 years old. But I start art, like professional art, in high school, where I studied textile design and sculpture. And I finished the University of Art from Romania in Cluj-Napoca, Dracula city. You know Dracula?
Dracula.
Okay. Yes, the vampire stories, and I am from that city.
Wow.
And I finished the university study and my master program in textile design. And I create accessories sometimes, but now I'm more in paintings and music. I'm singing too.
Wow, wow. Do you play an instrument?
I have a question for you. On her halo, are those people all over it, all around on the design?
Yeah, it's it could be. Yeah, I didn't think about that. But in the back, it's like more painting, like it's a structure, a little bit bas-relief in up. It's not 3D, but it's bas-relief.
Yeah,
and
very textured.
Yes, the idea of the circle is to be like a vinyl cover, or the golden circle which angels have when they are in the heaven.
So as a former marketing executive, I got to tell you, you need to get your agent to see if they can shop that with I think you call it the Archives of Nina Simone, because they could issue a new album and use that as the cover.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope Caroline helps me to
Yeah,
go right there where it's
uh-huh.
needed.
Yeah,
But
okay. I'm making
yes.
notes. Thank you, Judith. I'm making notes.
Ottilia,
Got my notebook.
It's very beautiful. What is the medium?
Acrylic, yeah.
Oh, it's acrylic?
Thank you. Yes, it's acrylic. Yes, it's acrylic on canvas.
Okay, it's beautiful.
It's not so big. Yes, thank you. And I created special for this contest.
Yeah,
And
thanks.
yeah, it's my my signature with a black background and yeah. Yeah, I prepared something great now, and I almost finished my my new big project, which I work for 4 years and half.
Wow.
And I'm so excited.
Wow.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you, Ottilia. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for making this painting just for the FEMME champions. Thank you for that.
Thank you,
So
Caroline, and congrats for everybody.
Your nickname is Ottie? Ottie? Is that because I noticed your signature was OTTY?
Oti, yes, Oti is my nickname, which my family, yes, my family tell me, and I have that signature when I was 9. I say this is my autograph for like signature when I will be star, and I use that all the time. So,
Yes, Kathleen. Thank you so much, Ottilia, for sharing that. Is Kathleen here?
Thank you.
Great. So Kathleen, tell us where you're from and all about Women of War.
I am originally from Portland, Oregon. And but I've lived in Virginia off and on since I was about 17. And my husband in foreign service, so we almost 3 years in Liberia in West Africa. And so and people say that once you have been to Africa and it gets in your heart, it never leaves. And I think that's really true. It certainly is true for me. And I'm particularly moved by the women in Africa, particularly have suffered through men, and then of course the women in the Middle East and the women in South and Central America who are also suffering and trying to do what they can to keep their families fed. And so each of my figures is from one of those areas, and in the background, although you can't really see it very well, there's the name of the countries that these women represent, and it's kind of, I made the background be kind of a quilted look, keep their families together. They stitch their families together. And memory quilts are very important in African culture and in the diaspora. So
yeah, we can write it.
Oh, you can. Oh, yeah, you can.
I made it larger so people could see it better. Yeah, very beautiful. So these stitches,
so
are they make-believe stitches or you actually stitch it?
I make it. No, they're make-believe.
Okay.
They're painted.
Okay.
I painted this piece for the show.
Okay, great, great. Thank you guys for doing this just for this show. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. And your video that was produced for this, I detailed each one of the ladies in your painting, right? Did you see your video? Uh-oh. I think my connection is dying.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I did.
Okay, great, great. All right. Very, very beautiful. Women of War. Mm-hmm. All right. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Nikki, where you're from, where you are, a little bit about the work.
Okay. So hi, everyone. I'm Nikki, and I'm from Southern California, and I'm still here in Southern California. And for this piece, I mean, by the title, I wanted to pay homage to someone who, you know, she may not be world famous or anything, but she's a really big champion in my life, and that's my grandma. And I wanted her face to be the focus, but I also wanted it to be a bigger narrative about Indian women in general. And because, you know, I am Indian, I wanted to incorporate, you know, a lot of these elements from my own life and childhood, because I was always surrounded by, you know, all these ornate clothing and sculptures. And so I've actually been incorporating embroidery and beadwork into my pieces, where this one is mostly oil and cold wax on canvas, but I also did beadwork and embroidery. And I just have really been wanting to embrace my culture more than I feel like I ever have before. And I really wouldn't be, you know, an artist without my grandma and her influence. And so I really wanted to make a piece that let her shine, because, you know, she is just truly extraordinary. And so she's in every way a femme champion to me. So that's kind of a little bit about this piece and who I am.
Wow. Wow. That is so cool, Nikki. Very, has she seen this piece?
Yes, it was the coolest thing to be able to show her, and she couldn't believe it at first. And I mean, I love her so much, and I just wanted her to be able to have that kind of time to shine in an artistic way, because she's like the most artistic person I know. And it was a very cool experience to be able to do this and to share her story and her light. And I hope to continue doing that for other people in my life, like my mom and sister, and kind of continue that series.
Right, right. Very, very good. It's just really gorgeous. I mean, when I saw the piece, I could see the love, the way you depicted your grandmother's face. It's just so, her spirit shines through. It really does.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Wow. All right. I just love it. I hate rushing around, but it's like, wow, this is just grandmother's song. And did you like the music that was put to your video?
I did. It was great.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you so much for all the effort you've put in. It's so meaningful to be a part of this.
Yeah, I want these experiences to just edify you as an artist, so you keep on creating your artwork. You know, it's very important to me. It's part of my mission in my heart to make sure that you guys continue to do your artwork and stay creative, because the world around us is sometimes gets extremely dark, so dark that we might drown in it. And I want to make these opportunities for you so you can have an excuse to keep going, you know, not that you need one, but just in case, right? All right. Now I heard that there was a couple other artists on the line that we didn't go through. So please, can you tell me, take yourself off of mute and tell me who's here that I didn't go through. This piece is very lyrical, very well done. I love it. Okay, Jayashri, tell us about yourself and about the piece. Where are you from and all that good stuff.
Okay, I'm Jayashri Samal, and I grew up in India, but I've been in the United States for the last 40 years of my life. And growing up in India, I was not exposed to a lot of art, but my mother, she has an artistic hand. I mean, she just knits very well, and sometimes she did a lot of, some kind of work. It's like something to related to religious festivals and things like that. So those were the only influence I had growing up in India. But here, I sort of wanted to study art because I really loved arts. That took me to Collage, where I decided, okay, maybe I will be a poor artist. So I switched to design. And all my life I worked as a designer, but on the side I always illustrated and did paintings just because I liked it. So this series of work that I had done was like mother and child. To me, my mother was influential in the sense that I watched her how she did things, and those were the only influences I remember. And I sort of applied that intuitively. It was not like something she told me or something like that. And I just thought that for this work, which I thought that all across every culture, mother's love is so important in bringing up a child or how we feel. And I didn't, my childbirth experience was the most meaningful and blissful experience that I have ever experienced. So I wanted to create a artwork from all different cultures about mother and child. And I did many of these pieces, but this is the only one I chose for this show, because this is, to me, sort of represented me as an Indian mother.
I'm bringing up these, yeah. Sorry, yeah. I'm bringing up all of them so we can see them all in one. Yeah.
And all the other pieces are about my journey, my narrative, and my stories of my life, like what I have gone through and how I evolved as an artist. And basically, these are all these stories. So instead of focusing on a particular women, I know I have many women that I admire, and I think they are the champions of my life. But this particular series, I just thought I am the champion of my own life, because I really went through very difficult journey before the COVID and after the COVID. And much of this series were done during the time of this quiet time. I reflected about my life and wrote what I went through. And that was the most difficult spiritual journey I ever went. But each time I faced a challenge, I overcame, and I discovered strength in myself. And that sort of gave me the strength to create more. And I decided to focus on my own potential, my own strength, and overcome all the difficulties and challenges in my life. And so the first one is the one about the awakened spirit, where I didn't want any sort of restriction or any limitation. That was the one I created because I wanted to create with all beautiful colors. And I think that medium is like alcohol ink on Yupo paper. And the second one is about when I got married, I thought the marriage was forever until the day I die. But I lost my husband, my marriage ended, I lost my house, my social status, my, many things. But in spite of all that, but I discovered the power within me, the strength within me to create. So this piece is about this 1,000 dream shattered, and how, women could be so vulnerable at the same time. They still gather their own strength to overcome difficulties and dream again. So this is that one. And the third piece is the sister of my soul. And this piece is about like how sisterhood is so important. And during this difficult journey of my life, how my friendship with another friend who sort of gave me so much, she sort of hold my hand and uplifted my spirit, and you know, she wasn't my sister or anything like this. She was just a friend. So these are all my feelings that I expressed through the painting.
Very, very nice. Thank you, Josh Street. Thank you for having that strength so you can keep going. You know,
Yes.
not all women can do it. Some turn to drugs, alcohol, other addictions, but you avoided that, and you used your artwork to help you be stronger, and that you shared it through your work to sort of strengthen your own self-confidence, I think was very good. And
yeah,
so
and
thank you.
mostly I sort of, you know, self-love, I would say self-love and my all the strength within me, and sort of used it in a positive way to say that, you know, women could be empowered, you know, and I want to use this medium of art to empower other women who could be in similar situation, and how to overcome their difficulties. You know, I think women are as sort of as competent, as intelligent as men are. So there is no reason for us to feel that you are any less.
Right.
And that's what I feel in my gender equality. There is no need to be deprived of anything. And if you could discover the strength within you, and you could achieve anything, that's possible.
Yeah. And thank you for choosing yourself as the FEMME champion, because you truly are. And you've shown it in your resolve, in your beautiful artwork, and you're coming here to tell us your story and to share your love of art. So thank you very much, Ashwin. Thank you.
Thank you for, you know, making me part of this artwork, and I'm honored.
Yeah, you are so welcome. So guys, is there anyone else? I never leave anybody out. So if there's somebody else, another artist who hasn't spoken but is here, let me hear your voice. Tell me, did I leave anyone out who is on the call? And if not, then what I'm going to do is stop sharing the screen, and we'll just have a wrap-up discussion about the general artwork or any questions anybody has to any of the artists. So I'm going to stop sharing screen. So can everybody see each other pretty much? Okay, you can all unmute yourself now. Now we can chime in and talk over each other, and so
thank you, Carolyn, for having this, for doing this show. It is amazing. The art is just so beautiful.
Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. I knew that this was an important subject, but the response that I got from you guys it was just tremendous. And like I said, we're going to take this show and run with it to help also the younger ones in schools, and just to everything that you've said. It may take me a while, but be patient with me. Each one of what you've said, some of you were able to speak in depth about your passion about gender equality. So I'm going to use those snippets in separate videos to help us get funding, if you will, so that we can go out in the community, and I can help to pay for some of your effort on the ground, right? Because I believe that artists need to get recognition and funding as well. So not just for Art Impact International, but I want to pass those funds on to you, the artists, you know, in form of stipends for going to schools and speaking about your work, by then finish the catalog so we can use that as well. And for those of you who are not local, that I still want to be able to extend that opportunity. Maybe you can contact a school in your neighborhood and offer to do, you know, a little presentation in the art department. I don't see anybody who will say no to you. And we'll go from there. But I believe it's tremendous what we can do as a group. I'll say that again and again. And with your commitment and passion, some of you have created artwork just for this show. I really appreciate you doing that. And some had artwork already because you are really caring about this subject. This was a great opportunity for you as well.